In a recent interview with Game Informer, Sony Interactive Entertainment chairman Shawn Layden suggested we have not seen more games take advantage of crossplay on PS4 because developers and publishers simply are not requesting the feature. He explained Sony is open for business on this one, following the successful implementation of Fortnite crossplay, and that company is keen on the idea, just need to chat with their PlayStation account manager to get the ball rolling. It all sounds fairly straightforward, but one high-profile developer claims the situation is anything but. Responding to Layden's comments on ResetEra, the CEO of Wargroove developer publisher Chucklefish claimed Sony has repeatedly stopped the studio from pursuing the idea. We just launched Wargroove with cross-play between PC, Switch and X, so I wanted to chime in, said the company's chief exec, Brice. We made many requests for crossplay, both through our account manager and directly with higher-ups, all the way up until release math. We were told in no uncertain terms that it was not going to happen. From our side, we can literally toggle a switch and have it working. Of course, this work might be more complicated for Sony. Just wanted to provide some balance on the issue and say that it certainly is not a question of developers having not contacted their account managers or having dropped the ball. We were told no. It's a curious exchange that suggests Sony still is not smitten with the idea of letting its users mingle with players on rival consoles, at least when it comes to smaller titles that are not Fortnite or Rocket League. Video Game DKC's weekly newsletter from video game industry watcher Simon Carless, GDC Gamasutra co-runner, rounding up the best long-read standout articles videos about games every weekend. This week's highlights include interviews on the much-vaunted Apex Legends, info on night thriller observation, and the loneliness of Sunless Skies, as well as Ration Doll, Art Sqool, and a plethora of other neat things. Particularly happy with the amount of other media adjacent to video games covered this time around: streaming TV shows, books, performance theater, and a dreaming about video games. That last one happens quite a lot in your household, and specifically your head, I bet. Until next time, Simon, curator. Taking back Roguelikes with Raigan Burns, the Spelunky Showlike Sim podcast. Raigan Burns of Metanet Software, stops by for a spirited debate on the term roguelike, as we discuss the tenets of the genre, why, and if they are important, and how Spelunky fits into it all. The world thinks we are making Titanfall 3 and we are not. This is what we are making. Account to Eurogamer article. Although many of the game's details have been splashed across the internet, there's still plenty here to discuss, including how the game actually plays, monetization, and what this means for the Titanfall franchise. At a closed doors event last week, I was able to trial Apex Legends for 6 hours, and ask Respawn a number of questions about his decision to go full battle royale. Simon, just note, other coverage all over the place, including at The Guardian. 120 notable platformers of 2018. Pixel Prospector YouTube video. I have just created a compilation video, which shows 120 top platformers that were released in 2018. It features a wide variety of platformer subgenres. The skills it traditional platformers, hardcore platformers, platform shooters, platform fighters, puzzle platformers, action-adventure platformers, and more. Simon, just note, man, there's a lot of video games out there. PC Building Simulator turns a complex hobby into goofy fun. Shannon Liao Verge article. There are few things more meaty than a PC game, where you build your own PC. PC building simulator gives you the experience of being a one-person PC building workshop, juggling multi customers with various demands. Your tasks could be as simple as blowing dust out of an older computer and scanning for viruses. As you level up, it could be to build an entire PC from scratch. Protest game. Jaroslav Svelch mighty press blog article book excerpt. 30 years ago, people gathered on Prague's largest square to protest the oppressive regime of communist Czechoslovakia. One of the earliest political computer games recreated the events, with Indiana Jones as the main character. In the final chapter of Gaming the Iron Curtain, Jaroslav Svelch tells the story of this game and explains its background. Simon, just note, super interesting looking book. There are not enough on local video game scenes written in English. High thriller observation is the spiritual successor to Alien Isolation and the Cali PC Gamer article. Observation is an upcoming sci-fi thriller from No Code, the team behind horror anthology Stories Untold. In it you play as Sam, an orbital space station's advanced artificial intelligence that has suddenly become self-aware. Something has gone horribly wrong on the station, leaving it drifting near Saturn, and it's up to you to help survivor drive Emma Fisher escape to safety, making games better for players with cognitive disabilities. Game Maker, best tool get you to video. Video games are for everyone, but those with disabilities can be left out if developers do not consider their needs. In this series of videos, I will be sharing guidelines and best practices for making games more accessible to a wide range of disabilities. This time, I am looking at design choices and menu options that will affect those who have cognitive disabilities. Sunless Skies, wonderful horrible emphasis make a murderous void feel like home. Alec Meer on Paper Shotgun article. The word lonely comes up often when discussing Sunless Skies, which seems like nothing to say about a game in which you haul yourself around the stars in the company of up to 24 crew members. But that's the tone of Fail Better's Twisted Sci-Fi Victoriano roguelike, feeling desperately alone and vulnerable, in a desperately large and lethal place. In total control, Ernie Smith, Nadia Vulvokov, Benj Edwards, a tech journalist and historian, who has ruled his vintage computing and gaming website for nearly 15 years, has recently found himself in the joystick business, building out an array of joysticks for platforms common and obscure mostly by hand. He notes THATBX foundry comes at a time when retro gaming is full of people looking for an upgrade. How a lifelong diet of games influenced the 7 deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle, Robert Placenzi Eurogamer article. But to describe the 7 deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle as a mere murder mystery would be a disservice. For there is something much more inventive going on. An old formula is spun on its head by an inspired, game-changing twist. It's just why Arthur Stuart Turton, a cost book award for first novel. I have never read anything like it. I have, however, played games like it. The flops are piling up for video game titans. Christopher Paul Mary Bloomberg article. In recent years, the video game industry looked like it had found the antidote to the boom-bust cycles that had long plagued the business. The biggest names in games have stumbled this year as marquee titles flopped and online spending came up short. Simon, just note, I think flop is a bit much, but looks like valuations got overheated, and this follow-up about upcoming Activision lack of showcases that a bit more Sadly, what it means when we dream about video games, Cecilia D'Anastasio article. For people who spend a lot of time plugging inputs into video games, the game does not end when their head hits the pillow. The more gamers I asked, the more I learned how widespread video game dreams are. Speaking to psychologists and dream analysts, I found that this widespread phenomenon says a lot about gamers' unconscious minds and neural wiring. SimCity 30 years later, a retrospective, LGLU2 video. The first retail releases of SimCity launched on February 2nd, 1989 for the Macintosh and Amiga, with the IBM PC following later, and from that point onward, computer gaming was irreversibly changed. Russian doll, Willa Paskin Slate article. Nadia Vulvokov is a video game programmer, with a two-pack diagram, a mop of red hair, and the good kind of bad attitude beacon, cited by Mankind. As Netflix Russian doll begins,